Tim Cook has a hard accent to nail down because he's Southern, but most of his Southern accent has been faded away in place of whatever the West Coast accent is, and so he's very unique.
Oh, okay. So is your accent Southern?
No. I did a paper on this in college.
Yeah. Oh, really?
What I have is known as the Midwestern non-accent.
Non-accent. As in, there's no accent in it from a Midwesterner's perspective, or there's no accent from anyone's perspective?
That's contentious.
Okay.
The general idea is that the dialect I speak is neutral from an American English perspective. Like it's straight English with no inflection. But anyone from any other part of the country will say, no, you have an accent because you don't speak like me. But yeah, I don't know. I tend to be in the camp that I don't have an accent in any real way.
You have the pure American accent.
Right. Yeah, a baseline.
You have a basic American accent.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm trying to just compare in my head your accent against Tim Cook's accent.
Yeah, I won't even try to imitate his accent because it's so difficult. A lot of people who do a Tim Cook accent just do a Southern accent, but that doesn't sound right to me.
I don't think he sounds Southern though, so that would be wrong.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't sound all that Californian either then, does he?
No, he definitely isn't like, he doesn't have like the surfer bro that you kind of associate with a California accent.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how prevalent that is in Silicon Valley anyway.
Yeah, it's probably not very prevalent, especially because of how diverse that area is.
It's just like a big magnet that draws in Americans from people from all over the world.
Right, yeah. It's like the gold rush. Everyone from the world, all over the world, goes to Silicon Valley to strike it rich.
It is the modern day gold rush.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Californian gold rush, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the original gold rush was in California.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, what were you going to ask?
I said, you sent me a note saying, thank goodness for the announcement, or we'd be talking about the weather. And
yeah. 'Cause nothing happened in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Newsworthy.
It's been pretty bland. So I did put the weather in our pre-show notes.
Did you?
Yeah, because it's been raining here today, and both of my oldest sons are in baseball, just playing in the city league, and they both had practice today. One of their coaches canceled practice because it's wet and muddy, and the other one didn't, and so we're still gonna have practice. And so I had to take him to baseball practice, and he played in the mud and in the rain, while my other kids are getting all soaking wet playing on the playground next to the baseball field, and I'm just here to complain about the weather.
Oh, gee. That one coach, did you have words with him?
No, I did not.
You're not one of those parents.
I'm very standoffish. So
getting towards like mid-late May though, what's it doing still raining there? Is that common weather for you?
Yeah, I mean it's not out of the ordinary for it to be rainy now. There is an expression that's April showers bring May flowers. So the raining is really supposed to happen last month, but it didn't rain at all last month, so I think we're just getting the rain now. So weather's been weird recently anyway, though. Everything's kind of out of sync.
Yeah, summer here's just hasn't been able to quit, really. It's been like warm and sunshiny and almost beach weather. It is getting colder now, though. Like I think we've got about 7 days around 20C, 68F now. So yeah,
that's about
certainly
the same
heading into the colder months. The same as you? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The seasons are crossing over.
Man.
It is autumn. Or as you might call it, fall.
Yeah, I use those two interchangeably.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd even know what autumn was.
Oh,
No,
really?
Joking, of course. I didn't think you'd use the word autumn. You know what it was.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty common. I am reorganizing our show notes because I'm not going to be able to make it through the whole show without hearing about the destroyed iPhone that you put in our post-show section.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It was post-show. Didn't really want to talk about it, but here we go. Because my iPhone 12 mini has had the Moment case on it since I got that case, even though I'm not using the Moment lens anymore, but I really like the case, so I left it on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then my plan was like either case or Apple Care, so then I cancelled the Apple Care and just went case. And then, as I occasionally do, I like to just take the case off and just give it a clean out because, you don't want any sand getting in there and like scratching around between the case and the phone for months.
Yeah.
So I took the phone out of the case and like practically shards of glass are falling out of the case, and I even got like bloody hands.
Really?
I am hyping it up a little bit, but I was bleeding by the time I took the case off because the back of the phone was just destroyed inside the case.
Mm-hmm.
So incredibly devastated to have that happen on this very precious phone, which I love dearly.
So what happened?
Well, I don't know. It could have happened any time since I put the case on, which was, I don't know, that was like just after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So sometime between Jan or Feb and May, the back is smashed. And I haven't noticed until now.
Wow. And you canceled your Apple Care.
Yeah. So my current plan to try and get it replaced for free is, if you remember back to when I very first got the phone, I said something like, I think it has like a touch problem because every now and then it just doesn't register when I'm scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
But that has continued to this day. It just hasn't really been annoying enough to warrant taking it in. And I've also kind of just been saving it up for like to get a new phone at some point. Just keep a bug or keep a hardware issue in your back pocket just until the end of the warranty period and then get the phone replaced.
Mm-hmm.
That was my plan. Hopefully the shattered back has not put a dent in that plan, but I still plan to. Well, now it's brought that plan forward. I'm going to take the phone in, show them how it occasionally doesn't register touch. Maybe leave no, they'll take the case off, so they'll see the back is smashed at least, and hopefully they don't like say, physical damage, so we can't replace the phone for you without a charge.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll cross my fingers and put on my puppy dog eyes, and hopefully it's an obliging genius tech who gives me a free phone. So maybe my next show I'll have more to this story.
Oh, you're going to bring it in soon?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Now that the back is smashed and I have the touch problem. Actually, I do have another random problem as well. It very frequently like drops frames in video in any app that I use. So I've kind of got a litany of problems that I want to claim a new phone on now.
That's too bad.
Yeah. So, and I'm thinking this case maybe doesn't quite have enough shock absorption as I need on this phone, so might be looking at another case as well while I'm in there.
Sounds like it, which the case wasn't really made for protection, right? It was just supposed to be a mounting point for those lenses.
Well, the mounting point is removable from the case, so I think it's dual purposing.
Ah, okay.
And it feels like a good case. And like it's a very well constructed case. It's made of hard but not plasticky rubber. It's fairly thick as far as cases go. I mean, not as thick as like an Apple leather case, but
right.
Yeah. Well, just while I'm on phones, so Yasmin's got my iPhone 10,
right,
and she started having like touch problems on that as well. And I didn't know about this, but the iPhone 10 actually had a repair program for touchscreen issues at one point. Well, it still does, but it's only valid for within 3 years of the sale date or the purchase date.
Oh man, so you just missed it.
So, yeah, just missed it. But it only just started like last month. She's completely unable to use the control center swipe and the tap on the clock's area to go back. Well, it's not really the clock anymore, but the notch area to go to the top of anything. Yeah, so both those things have gone. And she can get around with the accessibility dot, but...
Right. So she really needs you to get your phone fixed so you can hand it down to her and you can get the new phone this year.
That's exactly right, but hopefully she doesn't listen to this episode to figure out my plan.
Well, if it goes like last time, you're going to hand down your 12 mini and then decide you're happy with an iPhone 8 for the next 2 years.
No, the SE. It'll have to be
You're
the
going
SE.
to go back to the SE again?
Not the original.
Okay.
The second one.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a crazy idea. Just give her my phone and set up the Apple Watch as like a family member on her phone. My Apple Watch.
And just use your watch?
Just use my watch. Imagine that.
I think you would need a newer Apple Watch if you were going to do that. Although your 3 has been just replaced, right? So I guess the battery probably is as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, the battery's great. We'll get 2 days out of it. No worries.
Okay.
I can't actually do that, but I've been playing with the idea at least. There are definitely some showstoppers.
It's funny that you feel like you can't do that when there's been multiple instances in the history of just this show that you've gone without a phone at all. Either because you're carrying an iPad around or... did you have a secondary solution for this period of time, or you're just like keeping your phone at home all times, or are you just using your watch in that situation?
It was just the watch, I believe.
Yeah.
In those situations. Yeah. And there was the period when I didn't have a phone or a watch, and I just had the iPad.
Mm-hmm.
The main problems are apps that require SMS, like, or that just don't have iPad counterparts. I'm thinking of WhatsApp and Telegram, Signal. A lot of messaging apps that I use only work on a phone and also require SMS to set them up. Like if you did manage to somehow sneak the IPA onto the iPad, you'd have to, that device has to receive the SMS. Yeah.
It's too bad that there's not watch apps for those.
There are kind of hacky workarounds. I think again of WhatsApp. There is a WhatsApp on the watch made by a third party.
Okay.
Oh, man, it's so hacky. Well, just like all the non-phone WhatsApp apps are, all they do is communicate back via the phone to the WhatsApp network. Like WhatsApp on the desktop uses the WhatsApp app on the phone as its connection.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you turned your phone off, the desktop would stop working. And same if you had it on the watch.
So it's not a fully standalone watch app. You'd still have to carry your phone as well then.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't have to carry the phone. It would just have to be switched on somewhere and connected to the network.
Oh, okay. It's still a mess. You just need to convince everyone in your life to switch to iMessage.
If only. So that's my story.
Well, I hope that you're able to convince the Apple Store to replace that for you. Or else, I don't know, what does it cost to get a back replace on iPhone? Probably a few $100s.
Oh, it's got to be. Absolutely.
Let's see. I don't even know if these...
I don't even want to know.
I don't know if the prices are listed anywhere.
I'm going to
guess
at
$400 for 12 mini. That's $400 US. So I'm guessing probably $500 for you, probably.
Yep, pretty much.
Ugh. And what's that? A $600 phone? Just get a new one.
Yep.
Get the purple one.
Maybe. Probably not. Hang out until September. Get the iPhone 12 mini.
12 mini.
Have you got any other stories for the pre-show?
No, I don't have any stories.
Well, good morning then.
Good morning.
Apple made a little announcement last night. I did not think it would happen in time for this show, I would have 100% guessed that it was happening Tuesday American time, so he would have missed it by a day. But lo and behold, Apple has improved upon Apple Music by announcing a spatial audio and lossless mode. What are we going to call it?
Yeah, mode is fine.
It doesn't actually have a name, does it?
Yeah, it's just lossless audio.
The heavily rumored Apple Music Hi-Fi did not come to be.
No. Was there... Where did that come from? Was there actually references to something called Apple Music Hi-Fi, or is that just the name the rumor mill made up?
I think it's the name the rumor mill made up.
Okay.
I do not remember seeing any like screenshots with the term or any leaks with that term. It might have started with that Hits Daily Double website, right?
Oh, yeah. Were they the first ones that leaked that?
At least recently, there's been talk on and off, but
I think you're right.
Their article title was Apple Going Hi-Fi.
Oh, you're right.
But they don't mention... No, they don't mention a name. I reckon 9 to 5 Mac made it up. They make up all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Just kidding. Yeah, but I think they did. There's a lot to cover, though, in what this means and can we hear the difference and what supports which parts of it and what can Bluetooth do, what can't do. There's actually 2 tiers of lossless music. Yeah, there's a lot to go through.
Right, yeah. Time enough for the press release for our show, but not enough time for it to actually be out for us to have any real idea of what it's going to be.
No. Well, it's coming out in June, so we'll even have another show probably before it's released.
Oh, yeah. Just barely.
Just barely. Unless it comes out on the 31st at midnight. Because that's the first for me. Oh, no, but...
It'll still be the 31st for me.
Time. Yeah, okay. Too bad.
Yeah. Everything seems to be pointing towards this coming out with 14.6, which already has a release candidate that came out today. So it seems like, unless they're planning on having 2 weeks of this release candidate being out, it could come a little early.
Well, look at how long the betas for 14.5 ran. Like 6 months worth of betas on that one. Or it could be like a back end.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, they might release 14.6, but then all the actual audio files being delivered is just activated on the back end.
And to be determined how useful this will actually be. I mean, the spatial audio aspect using Dolby Atmos surprisingly is going to work with all AirPods, even the ones that don't have spatial audio. But then the lossless aspect won't work on any AirPods or pretty much any wireless headphone. Right. It has to be a wired device.
Even Apple's wired headphones.
Right. Yeah. So I'm confused where the utility comes from with that. I'm wondering if there's some missing piece we haven't seen yet, whether it's a new pair of headphones that will work with all of that, or a software update that's going to add some version of support to even just like the AirPods Maxes or something like that. But
I believe the problem lies in the connector to the AirPods Max, which is Lightning, and that's not able to support it.
Oh, like Lightning doesn't have fast enough transfer speed or something?
The DAC, the digital to analog converter, that's what it stands for, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is not able to support it.
Oh. Maybe we'll see AirPods Max 2.
It does seem a little bit ridiculous, though, doesn't it? That Apple releases these very high-end headphones mere months before announcing a lossless music service, and there's no way to get the lossless music to the AirPods. So it can't go over Bluetooth because Bluetooth is limited to like AAC 256
Right.
compressed. And it can't go over the wire because it's lightning that's the input into the AirPods. So I believe that's the limitation there. And there's no other way to get music to the AirPods Max. If they had just simply a 3.5mm input into the AirPods Max, that would have solved this problem.
And maybe slightly more forgivably, but still annoying, even the HomePods won't support lossless audio.
No, they won't. See, that's confusing because you can download an app on your iPhone that supports lossless audio and then AirPlay that to the HomePod. And the HomePod is playing that lossless audio because it's going via AirPlay, which does support roughly CD quality audio.
Oh, okay. So it seems like an artificial limitation then.
Yeah. But maybe it's a very intentional artificial limitation because they played back some lossless audio and were like, you can't really hear the difference on a HomePod anyway.
Right. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to be able to hear the difference in any situation.
No, yeah. That's the crux of it, isn't it?
It's more of just a marketing term. It's like, we have lossless audio. And you can't listen to it, but even if you couldn't tell the difference. But at least now we can say that we're undercutting Spotify's prices for these same features.
Yeah. Yeah, Spotify's got to introduce some similar high-quality audio, don't they? Well, Amazon, which already offered high-quality audio, has,
right,
at a price, has now cut the price out of the equation. So it's simply a free add-on as a response to this.
I think you're right. It was done in response, but they actually announced it before this.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Like a few hours before.
Yeah, so whether you can actually hear any difference on the HomePod when it comes to lossless versus lossy, I'd be very skeptical. I don't think you can even get like the full benefit of 256 kilobyte AAC on the HomePod, even the original HomePod, really. To me, it doesn't sound as good as I've heard AAC sound.
So who is this for? It's for someone who has a really good set of wired headphones they want to plug into their phone, either through Lightning or via some Lightning DAC they're using.
So yeah, actually, that's a question. Can you get a Lightning DAC that will support this, or is the Lightning part of it the limiting factor?
I don't think Lightning is a limitation. I've seen some people use some really expensive, high-quality DACs that are traditionally, like they're USB-A DACs that they use a Lightning to USB-A converter and then they plug in like these $300 DACs into it. And apparently it works. So I would assume that Lightning isn't limiting them.
Okay. I wonder if that's also a potential solution for the AirPods Max then as well. Although the Lightning part of that equation would be at both ends, wouldn't it? So maybe not. So you need an iOS device, either a Lightning DAC or I bet USB-C supports it without a problem. So an iPad might be better. That converts that to a 3.5mm jack to plug in some cabled headphones.
Unless you've got some kind of Lightning dock to dock your phone into your home hi-fi system or something.
Mm-hmm. A Lightning dock with a DAC.
Right.
The situation doesn't get that much better on the Mac though, either, does it?
That's a good question. I hadn't thought about playback on the Mac. At least they have headphone jacks still.
They do. It's either so there are two tiers to the lossless. There's lossless and high quality lossless. I think that's the terminology they're going with. And it could just be the high quality lossless variant isn't supported by the Macs DAC. Gosh, really in over my head here when it comes to audio stuff. I think Apple actually says that on their site, that you do need an external DAC to get the highest quality lossless audio out of your Mac into your ears.
Yeah, this feature gets more and more confusing when there seems to be a lot of asterisks on the end of their announcement today. Like to the point of it not being relevant to anyone. And then for them to have hyped it up to the point of like Apple's changing the music game forever, and even putting teaser ads in the Apple Music app, a day before, saying we're about to reinvent music or whatever, something to that effect. It just seems like there's something missing, and I'm wondering if we're going to see high quality headphones or a new HomePod or something that takes advantage of this to justify this feature's existence.
A lot of the sentiment on the Apple subreddit is that the Dolby Atmos part of this announcement is what the real news is. Because there might be, the 1% of music listeners who have the hardware to listen to lossless music and an understanding of the process required to get it out of whatever they're playing it from.
Mm-hmm.
But every man and his dog and women are going to get Dolby Atmos playback because everything supports it, basically. Everything with an H1 or a W1. The HomePods support it, even a standalone single HomePod, which just sounds weird. Yeah, basically everything that can play Apple Music is going to get the Dolby Atmos part of this. So it's spatial audio, but not the part where the headphones know where your phone is and you can turn your head and the audio is still coming from the phone.
Right. Which I thought was what spatial audio was, but I guess not. Now they're kind of redefining it as more of just like a virtual surround sound.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. So right now, with any headphones, actually anything, you can go to, just Google Dolby Atmos Experience, and you can listen to what it's going to sound like, because they have a little toggle where you can toggle Atmos on and off.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't require anything fancy to hear that. It does require the original tracks to be mastered with Atmos,
mm-hmm.
and then put on Apple Music, which that part wasn't happening at all, of course. So I guess that's like the tricky part of this, is that the track has to have Atmos for you to hear it. Not that you need to have some funky setup to get it.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much this will be something that actually changes anything, or it'll just be something that I have to actively seek out one song that has it, I listen to it and say, oh, that's cool, and that's the last time I think about it.
I went to the Atmos Experience website and gave it a little test just before the show.
Uh-huh.
It sounds cool. I mean, I'm not writing home about it, but it does, it sounds more immersive, I guess. It does sound like the audio is coming from more places. Of course, I bet the website shows like the best possible examples it could find, like someone's like playing a triangle and it moves around your head, that sort of thing.
Right.
And then in like the non-Atmos version, they didn't even separate it to left and right channels. They probably just played back a mono audio track for all I know. So I'm not sure if like you're listening through albums on Apple Music and an Atmos track is being played, if you're not looking at the screen and seeing the Atmos logo there, if you're even going to tell.
Yeah, I'm not super excited about this.
Okay, you don't sound excited.
Maybe I'm going to be wrong, and there's going to be some really like impressive uses of this Dolby Atmos technology, and it's going to redefine how music is mastered from here on out.
Yeah, maybe.
So, I'm not putting any money on it, though.
Well, you don't have to, because it's free.
All right, fair enough.
Yep. So the HomePods are getting it, even if they're not in a stereo pair. I'm curious as to how that's going to make any difference, because they supposedly already bounce audio around the room that they're in to make it sound, like the left and right channels are separated. And
yeah, this seems like fake. Well, first of all, the HomePod's fake sounding, having like the sound of surround sound themselves by like bouncing audio around, and they're gonna layer their own fake surround sound with this Dolby Atmos fake surround sound, and I'm wondering how effective that'll actually be.
Probably most effective with a stereo pair. So you're gonna have to be the one to trial that out.
Yeah, the one person in the world who can try that.
Just use the 2 that are in your hallway. That's up to 2 now, isn't it?
Right, yeah. Apple still has HomePods on their website, even though they were discontinued like a month ago or so.
They must have made so many HomePods.
Right, yeah, because they're still selling the initial production run of HomePods from years ago.
I wonder who calculated that that production run. They must have been out of their mind.
Yeah, they really thought HomePods were going to be a hit.
Yeah, they sure did. Well, I love my HomePod. It's a great device.
Yeah.
And you obviously are, because you've got 15 of them.
I've got 4 HomePods, just for the sake of putting that on the record. 4.
4 or 15, there's not much difference. Once you've passed 3,
right,
you're into like HomePod enthusiast territory.
I'm definitely HomePod enthusiast. I guess I've got 5 if you count my one mini.
Yeah, they don't count. Sorry.
Okay.
The mini itself is getting Atmos.
Oh, that's weird. Because the mini only has the one driver, so that's really not going to work unless it's in stereo pair.
I wonder how much of that is just like being able to list a feature in the tech specs page, as opposed to people complaining about it not supporting it.
Right, because the HomePod can at least pretend that it has Dolby Atmos, because it has multiple speakers firing in different directions to kind of simulate surround sound. With one speaker, there's not even a way to fake that. So I don't even know how they can get away with saying that, unless they're strictly talking about stereo pairs.
One thing that's not getting any of these features is little old iTunes Match. So that's still something that Apple offers for like $45 a year, I think. So previously you could rip a CD at, say you ripped a CD at 128 kilobit MP3 file, and you had iTunes Match. Well, Apple would give you the 256 KB AAC version of that file on all your devices. And in fact, you could even just delete the MP3s out of your library and re-download the files as AAC, which is cool.
Yeah.
So I don't blame iTunes Match subscribers for thinking that if Apple upped the audio quality again, that they'd be along for the ride. Lossless audio, Dolby Atmos, delete those crappy 256K AAC files and download some ALAC. I don't think we've mentioned that. That's the codec that Apple's going with here, ALAC, in various bit rates and frequencies. But lo and behold, iTunes Match subscribers have been left in the cold, and they're stuck with their AACs.
I don't feel bad for them.
Yeah.
They've gotten free music upgrades out of it already, I think. Well, not free, but very heavily subsidized music upgrades. I think they're good.
That trip to the baseball field has really done you in, huh?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know what it is. I've got just a cough that won't go away for the last week or so. Otherwise, feeling healthy. Just annoying cough, like to the point I lost my voice earlier.
Ugh. Yeah, they're annoying. Is it like a dry cough?
Yeah. What I need is, and what I was looking for, like this whole episode, is some way like I can just quickly like press mute and unmute in the actual show recording. I don't have an easy way to turn my mic on and off.
There's no mute button on the mic itself?
No. There's no mute button on there. Yeah. I'm sitting here the whole time. I'm making this piecing this episode together really hard on James. I need to figure out some kind of way to easily, like, even if it's just like some button that my XLR cable plugs into between my mic and my audio interface. I don't know if that exists or maybe
it does certainly exist.
Maybe I need a new audio interface that has like just a mute button on it.
As long as there's a slight pause between your speaking and your coughing, then it's not going to be too hard just to delete it, because it's just going to be like a segment of audio.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to be careful of that, but I still got something you got to keep an eye out for, which I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. Well, then I'll cough right into the mic so you can really notice it.
Thanks. I actually subscribed to iTunes Match the other month because, as part of my little music experiment, unsubscribe from Apple Music, get music through other sources, I thought, it might be worth having iTunes Match so I can, chuck my MP3s into iTunes on my computer and then still use voice commands on the HomePod to play the files. Because the HomePod is supposed to support iTunes Match.
And what was your experience?
The experience is just so incredibly awful that a week after, I sent a refund request to Apple and they gave me my money back.
Wow. What was the issue?
It is just completely unable, well, not completely, but like 80% unable to find the parts of your music that are from iTunes Match. And if you just Google like the string that Siri says, like couldn't find that in your library, whatever, and HomePod iTunes Match, you'll find basically the same issue has existed on and off since the HomePod was released.
Huh.
Like 2018, people are like, oh yeah, the HomePod says I can't find it in my library, and then a month later, oh, it's resolved now, it's all working, and then the next year, oh, it's not working again, and repeat ad nauseum. So it seems like, well, it's obvious that Apple doesn't really care about iTunes Match, and the experience was horrible.
And how does Apple Match actually work, or iTunes Match work? If you pay for it for a month and get all your music matched, can you just stop paying for it, or do you have to keep paying for it indefinitely to have access to that music?
Yeah, you keep paying for it. So the music is your music files which you've gotten from wherever, and you stick it in iTunes and turn on iTunes Match. You can only pay by the year, which is like the main reason I wanted to get a refund, because you pay by the year.
Right.
iTunes Match, it is included in Apple Music, so you kind of have it. If you were to stick some MP3s into your music, I keep calling it iTunes, into your music app on your Mac, they should appear on your phone via iTunes Match.
Okay.
As long as you've got iCloud Music Library turned on. Music just matches the file with an audio signature to the same file on Apple servers, and adds that to your library until you unsubscribe. And of course, once you have lost your subscription, well, all the files are still there in the music app on your Mac as they were, but have probably disappeared from your phone, I guess. Yeah, unless you had synced them there over Wi-Fi or with a cable, they'll also be gone from your phone. Huh. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. It sounds too convoluted to even be worth the hassle for me. I'll just buy the music again.
I guess, what if you had like 100 CDs?
Yeah, I'm sure there's people that this really appeals to. I'm just not in that demographic.
It certainly appealed to me when it first came out. I was one of the OG iTunes Match subscribers.
Oh, really?
I used the hell out of it. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, just an update-ish on all forms of AirPod not supporting lossless audio. John Prosser retweeted a Mac Rumors article about that specifically with just the words "wait for it." So he's had a pretty good track record recently. So maybe there's something that is in the pipeline that's, I don't know how they're going to work around limitations of Bluetooth itself. But maybe they have something in mind for some degree of lossless audio support, maybe just on the Maxes or whatever.
I did come across this little tidbit when I was trying to learn about all this audio stuff this morning. Is that Bluetooth 5, which the AirPods Max and the iPhone 12 both support, are actually capable of CD quality lossless audio. So
really?
I wonder if a software unlock could enable it on those newer Apple products.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it seems like they would. No reason not to. So, and it would make a little bit more sense with at least compatibility within their ecosystem.
Yeah, it certainly does seem ridiculous if it doesn't.
Right. Yeah. And maybe all these new AirPods that are rumored to be coming out soon will also have Bluetooth 5, and then they can have their whole lineup have this lossless support.
So there have been some leaks that Apple Music for Android is getting this as well. So it seems to be coming to Android as well.
Right. Yeah, I would expect that.
It would be comical if your Android phone with USB-C could output lossless music to your cabled headphones.
And there's plenty of Android phones with headphone jacks too still.
Or the headphone jack. How about that? An Android is more capable of playing back Apple Music than an iPhone.
Oh, man. Yeah, I believe it. Maybe they deliberately won't bring it back just for that reason, or bring it to Android for that reason.
Yeah, but people have already seen a few strings in the Apple Music beta for Android.
Yeah,
I think the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, I think you're
right. Another just random tidbit is that apparently you can turn on lossless streaming over Bluetooth if you want to anything, to
any device, right?
To any H1 or W1 device.
Okay, but yeah, what does that mean in the sense of going over less than Bluetooth 5?
Right, it's going to be
nothing.
Transcoded to, or encoded to whatever the device supports, I suppose. Which I think this is still the AAC 256.
Mm-hmm. Which is lossy.
Which is very, well, supposedly it's transparently lossy. This is audiophile territory.
Okay.
But AAC 256 is supposed to be transparent to the human ear versus lossless.
I don't even know. I can't even begin to comprehend what transparently lossy means. They only trim out the stuff that's like outside of the human range of hearing.
That's precisely it.
But why would a mastered recording even have stuff in that range in the first place? If it's truly not something you can comprehend, then it should have been removed in the master.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't know enough about audio to even pretend I know what I'm talking about here.
We could just start making stuff up.
Okay.
Maybe it's because you can't re-encode that AAC file to any other format if you wanted to in the future. Actually, I see that a lot on the audiophile subreddit, which I don't frequent, but a lot of them say even the lossless audio formats are less about playback and more about being able to use that file in the future when you need it, I need it in AAC in 10 years. Right now I'm listing an MP3. Well, you're not going to turn the MP3 into an AAC.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got the FLAC, then you will.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does. I think that's all I know or can say about these new modes, as we're calling them.
Yeah, I'm at the end of my rope as far as being able to pretend to know what I'm talking about on audio codecs.
All right. You bunged a bunch of topics in there, though. I haven't really even read them yet.
I just shotgunned a bunch of small things that happened today that were somewhat interesting to me into our show notes. There's no standout big thing, but just like a few small things that have popped up in the last 24 hours that seemed somewhat interesting.
All right.
So, first one is in the latest 14.6 release candidate for iOS and tvOS, there's a new animation for a product that's called Beats Studio Buds, which looks to be a truly wireless Beats headphone that is much more smaller and in-ear. It kind of looks like AirPods, but without the stalks coming off of them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not much more to glean from this except their appearance, because they haven't been officially announced, so we have no idea what the specs are. But maybe these will be Bluetooth 5 and get support for lossless audio as well.
I think the Buds part of the name isn't confirmed. Is that true? I think they were just named because they look like that.
Oh, maybe. I just assumed that they were, but...
I mean, it's a great name.
Right.
If not slightly taken by other companies.
Buds is so generic. I don't think anyone can claim to have the Buds.
Yeah. Beats Buds really rolls off the tongue. So they look like they will be in ear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got the rubber tips on them.
With rubber tips. About as much as the AirPod Pros are in ear.
Mm-hmm.
And the graphics hide it a little bit, but the little... What am I going to call it? It's not the stalk, but like the spot where the Beats logo is seems to be quite large. So that's probably going to be the battery part of it. So if you were to take the AirPods Pro and then fold back the stalk so they're on top of them, that's kind of what you got here.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty accurate description of what they look like.
Okay.
So, it's interesting how little Apple seems to have been worried about leaking stuff in their operating systems as of late. Between these and we also got the early leaks from this Apple Music update a few weeks ago. So they seem to be getting a little sloppy. Or maybe their timelines are messed up and they were expecting that they would have already announced these Studio Buds. Maybe these are the rumored, we were talking about maybe they're going to announce AirPods 3 tomorrow, but maybe actually what they're going to announce are these new Beats headphones.
Yes, I had the exact same thought.
Yeah.
We could well be in for another one of those, week of releases. If we have, we had the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable because, why would they do this Apple Music announcement on a Monday when a Tuesday seems more in line for them? Maybe it's because they're trying to tee up a whole week of announcements.
When does anything happen on a Monday?
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good prediction. We could see another week of smaller announcements from Apple. So, but I don't have a ton of thoughts on these Beats Buds. I'm not a Beats person, so I definitely wouldn't purchase them. I'd go for AirPods over these. But certainly interesting that they're letting things leak like that.
Yeah, I've never owned a Beats anything. I've been tempted in the past, when there's like a slight shortcoming in an Apple product for like the specific use case you're after. Often there's like the Beats product which fills the gap.
Right. Yeah, especially if what you're looking for is some like good headphones to use in like a fitness or workout environment. They seem to make lots of headphones geared towards that. That have all the Apple features that like same as AirPods, but are more sweat resistant or more designed to stay in your ears or things like that.
Speaking of workouts, I noticed some complaints already on the Reddit thread that there are no ear hooks on these. So the a lot of the Beats products in the past had some form of ear hook, just to make sure they stayed in your ear when something intense is going on.
I think that in itself is the explanation. They already have plenty of headphones with hooks on them. Now they're making one that doesn't have hooks. I don't see a problem with that.
Okay.
Like they're covering the whole range. Unless these offer some standout feature above the others, and then people have to make a decision between Bluetooth 5 or headphones that are going to stay in their ears the whole time. I could see that being frustrating.
And these are using the Studio product line in their name. So it seems that's the target audience in this case. It's for your, I don't know, someone in front of their MacBook, in front of Logic, making the next number one hit. I don't know if that's how their lineup works, but that's the impression I get from checking the Beats website every 12 months.
Yeah, I can definitely picture every like audio producer sitting in their studio with just little in-ear earbuds to master their music with.
Hey, don't knock it. I bet there have been some huge hits produced like that.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
Some of my favorite album was recorded on an iPhone, just with the built-in microphone.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen that specifically, but there's people making feature-length movies with just iPhones, so anything's possible.
Yeah, that was Insane or Outs, something like that, by Steven Soderbergh. Or the big one, the one that was in theaters, or at least the biggest one I can think of that was recorded on an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Unsane. There we go. Unsane. Just came to me. Yeah, totally doable. I don't think that movie was even a particularly good example of it, really. Because I've certainly seen, better iPhone cinematography than I saw in that movie.
Oh, I never even saw the movie.
It's kind of worth a watch.
Okay.
If just for that novel factor.
Film was shot entirely on an iPhone 7 Plus. Wow, this is a while ago.
Right?
All right. Well, another really small topic that kind of got me a little excited, and I don't know at all what the legitimacy of this is, but there's been a rumor circulating around Twitter in the last 24 hours that the next iPhone is going to come in pink. Which is my favorite color and would be the phone color that I would buy if it's offered. Like, to the extent that I might have a hard time if they only have like the 12S standard, not the 12S Pro in pink. I might have to get the 12S.
Why do you like pink so much?
I don't have a good reason for that. It's been my favorite color as far as I can remember. Like I remember being in preschool telling people my favorite color was pink and getting made fun of.
Oh.
And then when I was in middle school, beginning of high school, my friends and I started a band and we called it Pinkish. My look for all of middle school and most of high school, I wore black Converse with hot pink laces in them. Half of my closet today is still pink clothes.
Really?
I like the color pink. So if the pink iPhone came out, I think I would just have to get it.
You'd have to.
Yeah.
The mock-ups, at least, look fantastic as well. It looks like a really nice shade of pink.
Yeah, the mock-ups are okay. It looks a little like Pepto-Bismol to me.
I don't know what that is. Pepto-Bismol.
Really? Okay. It's a very popular, I don't even know what to call it. Stomach medicine? Like if you have an upset stomach, you take some Pepto-Bismol.
Huh, okay. Yeah, that's quite pink. I would say it's nappy sand pink for...
I have no idea what that is.
Australian listeners.
Nappy sand?
Napisan.
Oh, I see a lot of stuff that says vanish. Vanish nappy sand?
Yeah, maybe that's...
Like a detergent?
Yeah, it's like a detergent / bleach.
Okay. Yeah.
That's more of a purpley pink though. Now that I see it, so it's the Pepto-Bismol is more of a pink.
It says the best equivalent to Pepto-Bismol in Australia is called Peptacil. Are you familiar with that?
No, but I do know what antacid is, so we'll go with that.
Okay, yeah.
So it's an antacid.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
So there's a quote in the thread from Anal Pulsation 69. Why would I buy a phone that I'm only allowed to use on Wednesdays? Now, I don't understand that, but going from the reply from Homeless Gene Ralphio, oh my god, Tim, stop trying to make pink happen. I'm guessing it's like a Mean Girls quote?
Yeah, it's a Mean Girls quote, because in their group they say, on Wednesdays we wear pink.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I like it. If this mock-up is correct, it looks like it's the Pro edition, but it looks like they just took a iPhone 12 Pro and colored it pink.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any legitimacy to this at all, or if someone just made a pink phone and spread it around, and it got re-reported in a couple places.
It's happened before, more than once too.
All the time. But I just put it in there because I'm hopeful for it. So I'm
soft honey on. Sorry,
I was gonna say maybe I'm a little hopeful it doesn't come to the Pro line because I would love an excuse to get a mini.
Just to have a mini, or just so you can save a bit of money this round?
Just to have a mini. It's not really about the money. I just think the small size would be really nice.
Let me tell you, it is.
Yeah, even with the broken screen.
I don't have a broken screen.
Well, sorry, a screen that doesn't detect touch and a broken back.
Even with those, it's great. I was going to say, Soft Honey on Twitter said, what sick person edited a pink iPhone and made it go viral like Apple was actually going to sell it, or actually selling it?
It does seem very saturated by Apple standards. Like, if they were to make a pink iPhone, I think the closest thing we'd see is like another rose gold, like just barely pink looking phone. So, or something in line with even the iMacs, right? Because they've got it's supposed to be a red iMac, but the front of the iMac and the stand is definitely closer to a rose gold or a light pink color.
Speaking of colors, new Apple Watch Pride bands and faces. Yeah,
this is always one of the most exciting times of the year for me. It's rare that I get very many Apple Watch bands, but I always get the new Pride Edition bands. I'm a big fan of colorful bands in general, and their Pride ones are always really creative. So these are something that I went ahead and ordered today.
They look fantastic.
Yeah.
They look really good. So we've got two. We've got a braided solo loop. And then we've got a nylon Nike version. A sport loop, a Nike sport loop.
Right. I was a bit anxious going into this today because I knew they were going to do a braided solo loop for their Pride band because they tend to make whatever their Pride band is they make a different band, their Pride band, every year. And so, of course, they're going to highlight their new band. And I'm a little nervous about having ordered one that it's going to be the right size. As a matter of fact, I ordered one, I canceled my order, I ordered a different size, and I'm still pretty sure that it's going to not fit. I'm going to have to probably go into the Apple store and actually do a test fit. So we'll see how that goes.
So you don't have any of the... Sorry, what's it called?
The
solo loops already?
No, I've specifically avoided them for this exact reason.
When they were first released, there was, a whole news cycle about how easy it was to get an ill-fitting one.
Mm-hmm.
So your hesitation is warranted.
I measured 3 ways. I measured in centimeters, I measured in inches, and then I used Apple's print and measure tool. And I got different numbers. I got a 7, an 8, and a 9.
So tell me, why were the centimeters and inches different?
I don't know. I don't know how those could have been different, but I did. I got a 7 when I measured in centimeters, and then when I measured in inches and put my measurement in inches into their app, they said get an 8 if you want tight and get a 9 if you want loose. And then I printed their... So I'm like, okay, well, I don't want a loose watch band. I like my bands pretty tight. And an 8 is right in the middle of the 3 numbers I got. So I ordered an 8. And then I started worrying about it. And so I printed Apple's print and measure tool. And I tried that on, and it gave me a very definitive 7. So I canceled my 8, and I went and I ordered a 7. And I'm really hoping that works out.
There was definitely talk that Apple's tool measured in one direction more than another direction. I think it might have measured tighter than you would want.
I think, well, I like my watch bands really tight. I hate when my watch slips around on my wrist. So I'm okay with it being too tight, especially because it sounds like these bands do loosen up a little bit after some wear. So okay. I would definitely prefer going for too tight than too loose, I think.
Yeah, a loose watch band drives me crazy. Like, if the watch face isn't in exactly the same spot every time I raise my wrist, then yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'm going insane.
So, yeah, I'm excited about both of these. And this is the second year in a row that they've done 2 Pride bands, with their second one being a Nike partnership, which is hurts. So last year when they did that, I opted for just one. I'm like, I'm just gonna get one Pride band. I don't need both. And then I eventually changed my mind. I'm like, no, I like both. I'm going to order both of them. So this year I learned from my mistakes, and I just went ahead and ordered both at the same time, and it took the hit to the wallet.
Wise move.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me, do the solo loops work with the older style Apple Watches, or just the new ones? Or in fact, any of the new bands?
I think they should work. I don't see why there'd be any reason any watch band would or wouldn't work. The connectors are the same.
They're the same? Right.
Yeah.
I thought there was a size difference. Didn't the watches go from 42 to 44 mil? Or?
Yeah, the cases themselves changed, but I think the connectors stayed the same size.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've got a myriad of bands that I've ordered in the last 5 years, and they all work identically. So I don't think there would be an issue.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
I didn't mention the faces as well. So there are a couple of different Pride faces.
Mm-hmm.
They look pretty nice. Still would like to see some just better faces all round. Just something completely new instead of more rainbows, but whatever.
Yeah, there's some cool new integrations in the packaging for these bands. It's going to let you use app clips to immediately set up your matching watch face with your band, which is kind of cool. They made it... There were some people in the comments that I think were just confused that that they were under the impression that these app clips were installing watch faces, which I don't believe is the case. I think these watch faces will be available to anyone once they get the latest watchOS update, 7.5, I think, which will be coming out in the next few weeks, and that'll just include these. This is just an easy way to set them up.
So it sounds like Apple's just using like the most convenient technology to shortcut you to that watch face in the absence of having any other better way of doing it, because I don't see how watch faces and app clips fit together otherwise.
Right. Yeah, it almost seems like a misnomer because we already have watch face sharing. But I guess they're kind of enabling watch face sharing via the NFC that's being facilitated by app clips. Yeah, I'm not completely sure on how that nomenclature works between those features.
As long as it works, I guess.
Right.
Also, MacBooks with mini LED displays may be delayed until 2022. So these MacBooks that we haven't been announced and haven't had a release date have been delayed, unfortunately. Sorry, everyone, to be the bearer of bad news.
I was disappointed to see this initially this morning because I'm very excited about these MacBooks. The mini LED technology sounds great. The redesign sounds great. The reintroduction of ports and MagSafe sounds great. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was actually really hoping this is true, because it'll give me a little bit more time with a MacBook I just bought 6 months ago before I feel like I need to spend another couple $1,000s on a new one.
Don't lie. You already know you have that feeling that you need to spend the money on a new one.
Yeah, but I don't have the option to. So the longer Apple doesn't give me that option, the more money I'm saving.
Tim Cook's always considering your pocket specifically. I know he is. He's
right.
Like, how much can we milk from David this year? Oh, no, that's getting a little excessive. Let's push it another year.
They know I've got that credit too that I'm just waiting to spend. And I have, no. I have to spend it by the end of the year. Never mind. They have to release these MacBooks before the end of the year. Or else I'm going to end up buying an iMac or something.
I don't know if this would hold back the release, though, because they could well just go ahead with a regular display in these new MacBooks and hold their mini LED for like the next gen. Unless there's something... No, actually, when I think about it more, that's probably unlikely. There's probably some case design differences between the two display technologies.
Right, and
unless the mini LED is just like a bigger, thicker case for some reason, and then you could just fit an LED display in there.
Well, LCD
rather.
This isn't specifically saying that the mini LED aspect of it is what's being delayed. It's just saying that those new laptops that have mini LED technology are delayed. And if I had to guess on what the reasoning is, it's because of the worldwide silicon shortage going on.
Okay. Yeah, I've misread it entirely.
But actually, I would not be surprised if the mini LED technology was slightly thicker. So if that was the limiting factor, I suppose they could slap in an old display, but that would be disappointing.
Well, if it's thicker, it means they can also put Face ID in there and put like a 4K webcam, and
fingers
all sorts
crossed.
of crazy stuff could happen.
I'm not a big... I don't use my webcams for anything. But I would love to have Face ID, so hopefully that at least comes.
It's unlikely, considering the recent Mac releases without either.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. If they can go through the effort of completely redesigning an iMac and not putting Face ID in, yeah, it seems like the writing's on the wall. Although they only redesigned the lower end iMac, so maybe iMac Pro could have it.
There's always that asterisk, isn't there? Mm-hmm. And I'm so curious to see what the Pro level Apple Silicon Macs are going to look like. That's the most anticipated thing this year. And more so than an iPhone or anything else.
We could be seeing that as early as a few weeks from now. Like, WWDC is a great time to announce Pro products. Even if it's just, here's M2, this is the chip that's going to be coming at the end of this year, you know?
Yep. Is that it for topics?
Yeah. Pretty eclectic collection today, but we managed to somehow drag it out.
We did. Well done to us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm James VDM on Reddit and on Twitter.
And I'm Jellywoot on Reddit and Twitter.
And the show notes will be at reddit.com/r/the_r_apple-show. I promised a report on the robot vacuum, I believe, this show.
Yes.
Now, because I'd received it like literally 15 minutes before we started recording the previous show, so I hadn't had a lot of time with it.
Mm-hmm.
I can now well and truly say that I love robot vacuums. I have spent about 6 months of manual vacuum time, I think, playing around with the robot vacuum at this point. So hopefully that tails off and I'm not spending so much time vacuuming in quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, it's entertaining. Just seeing a little robot roam around the house and how it deals with obstacles and, you know, what does it get stuck on? What can it deal with? Try out the mopping mode and the sweeping mode and it can do like mopping in multiple patterns as well. Maybe we should try those, see which one's most effective. And the kids are likewise enamored with it, so they're forever asking to put it on. So the house has never been cleaner because every morning they wake up and say, "Can we vacuum the house?" Delightful.
And it's been working consistently for you? It hasn't had any issues with losing its location or mapping or anything else?
So the model I got specifically, I found lots of warnings online previously that the software was rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not terrible, but the mapping aspect of it is probably its weakest component. I think since the last show, it's had 2 maps. So like it had a map and then it lost it and then it made another one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but really I don't really, I mean, I use the map, but I don't rely on the map. Like when I'm vacuuming, the house is not so big that I'm saying like I'll just do one half of the house because that's the dirty part. Like if I'm turning it on, I'm expecting it to do the whole house.
Okay.
So from that respect, I don't need a map.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which was...
I'm sure if I had like integrations with, say, Google Home and I wanted to activate the whole thing by voice, like say, yo Google, go and vacuum the bathroom. At that point, it'd be annoying if I lost the map, but the way I've got it set up is the app has a very basic integration with Siri shortcuts, and I've simply created a shortcut which vacuums the entire house. So I don't need a map, and neither does it really, because if there's no map, it'll just make a new one as it's going. So
okay.
Yeah, currently I've got it set to yo Siri vacuum the house, and it does the full job and then goes home again.
Do you have any like scheduled times for it to run? Or do you just manually trigger it when you need it?
I just trigger it when I need to.
Okay.
The situation might change in 6 months when I grow less interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I'm happy to kick it off. And also, I do worry about it just having its own schedule, because in my house with 2 very young kids, the floor is often just littered with toys and other random crap.
Right, yeah.
And you kind of need to pick up before the vacuum runs.
True.
Yeah.
In my house, that became more of a blessing than a curse for us, because we got in a routine of the whole house has to be picked up before bed. All your toys have to be picked up. We got to clean up the living room, because the vacuum's gonna run and it's gotta have a clear path. So we kind of got in that routine for the month or 2 that we had the vacuum, but quickly lost it. It sounds like you had a similar situation to what I dealt with, which was losing the maps periodically. It was a little bit more of a concern for me because maybe I was trying to make my vacuum deal with too big of a space. But my house was so big that to remap the whole house required the vacuum to dock itself and recharge halfway through. And so mapping the house was few hour process. So it was very frustrating, and we did have schedules set up. I think I mentioned this last show, but like after meal times, it would automatically clean up like the kitchen and dining room only, and then go back to the dock, and it did the whole house once a day or every other day.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if you have a small enough space that it just does it all at once, then I could see that not being an issue at all.
Well, currently it takes around 45 minutes and 50% battery to do the whole house on like the normal settings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that, once it's a year old, it might take a whole charge to do it. But yeah, currently it can do the whole thing pretty effectively.
And it has LiDAR, right?
Yeah, it does have LiDAR.
So even if
on top of it,
even if it had to dock at some point, it should be able to then pick up where it left off after it's topped up enough.
Oh yeah, yep.
So,
it does seem to have that function.
Yeah, that's pretty convenient.
Yeah, you can look on the map and it knows where it's gone and where it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, very nice. How frequently do you have to empty it? Is it after every vacuum?
Oh gosh, I can't believe how much dirt it picks up. I had no idea the house was so dirty.
I mean, that's 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 what Yasmin's been trying to tell you this whole time about carpet in a house. It's disgusting.
Well, actually, the current house has no carpet. It was the previous one that did. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, the very first time it ran, I had to clean the bucket twice in its first run because there's just so much dirt that it found that I guess a manual vacuum had never got to.
Mm-hmm.
Probably it does like under beds and under couches and stuff. So
right.
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous / disgusting. But now, I don't know. It could probably do. Again, it depends how often I vacuum, but I'd probably empty it every third, maybe fourth vacuum.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Actually, the one thing that's a little annoying, it doesn't seem to have a sensor to say when it's full. I kind of expected it would, but it did around one time, and I thought, wow, it's done a terrible job, so I checked, and it was basically just dragging dirt around because the bucket was full, and it didn't tell me.
Huh. That's what you get for cheaping out and not getting the $1,500 robot vacuum.